Hello and welcome to the Women Wise podcast. I am Janine Lingenfelder.
And I'm Sarah Habibi, and we are so excited to have you here with us today.
This is your space to feel inspired, uplifted, and deeply connected. Whether you're building a business, finding your voice, or stepping into your next chapter, you belong here.
And a big shout out to our incredible sponsor, Arman Jamula, founder of It's Her Way, UAE's #1 female entrepreneurship hub. It's Her Way has become a thriving platform that supports women in all stages of their business journeys. From providing a marketplace to marketing support and funding resources, they're here to offer the tools and opportunities necessary for success.
And your vision and commitment to women in business is life-changing, and we're so proud to be part of It's Her Way community.
And we're also recording in the beautiful Procast studio at El Garhoud, Dubai. If you're ever looking for a space that feels professional and powerful, this is it.
Every episode is about sharing stories, lessons, and real conversations that remind us we're not alone, we're in this together. So get comfy, stay open, and let's dive in, because when women rise together, there's no limit to what's possible.
Victoria Myers, welcome to the Women Wise podcast.
So excited to have her with us.
Finally.
Yeah.
I've been saying for ages we've got to get
It's
Victoria.
about 12 months.
At least.
Hey, good things take time, right?
Exactly.
So, Victoria, please share with us your story, where it started, as much detail as you can, and what led you to Dubai and also start your amazing company.
So I was born in the UK, and I was living and working there for 20 years in the retail industry there. So I worked for quite a lot of different big brands, mainly fashion and accessories brands. So I worked my way up from like the shop floor, like having a Saturday job selling duvets and curtains and pillows and things like that. Through my career, while I was at university, I continued to work in stores, and then I finished university. I got my degree, and I was like, I think I'd rather enjoy doing the retail. So I stuck with that rather than putting my degree to use. I put that in my pocket and continued to work in retail stores, and then through head office as well. So that was like for about 20 years in the UK, and then I had a little career break when I had my children. So. Because the one thing about the retail industry, it is 24/7, it is non-stop, it's very demanding, and it wasn't necessarily very compatible with having very small children. So I took a career break for a few years, and during that time, my husband got offered a job here in Dubai. So while the period where I wasn't working, we moved out here to Dubai and got settled, and I was for a little while a stay-at-home mum with 2 kids in Dubai, which was quite a change from where I started out in the north of England. And I did really enjoy that time at home with my kids. When they were young, it was exactly what I needed, what they needed. We had such a wonderful time. But when my daughter was getting ready to go to school, I was thinking, what am I going to do with myself now? Like, what's next? What's next to me? Because it felt like a new chapter, a different change. Because had I been still in the UK, I probably would have found myself a flexible part-time role somewhere, working with a large company like I had done before. But obviously the thing is, one of the challenging things about living in Dubai is there isn't necessarily a lot of flexibility when it comes to work in terms of finding part-time opportunities or finding things that are more family-friendly with the hours. So I was a bit unsure where to go with this. So I decided to, and I was looking around, and I thought there are a lot of really great independent product businesses, which are a lot of them started by people like me who have had a career break, are looking for something new. They've started a business, they are selling a great product, but they don't necessarily have experience in the industry to help them to really grow their business. And I thought, well, maybe I could create something, build something that not only like works for me in terms of hours and flexibility, but uses all those skills and experience and knowledge that I've built up over the years and helps them to build their businesses as well. So I did sit on that for quite a long time. I'm not going to lie, after being a stay-at-home mum for 6 years, like, does make your mindset a little bit, it was a challenging thing to think about changing and to become self-employed. It was not something that I'd ever thought about before that point. So it was a bit of a mindset shift to get around that. But I started off working as a consultant, like offering my services to small businesses. And I was enjoying that a little bit. But I did find I spent a lot of my time looking at spreadsheets all by myself in the spare room, which wasn't necessarily the most enjoyable part of the job. And I thought, well, if I've created this job to not only to help other people to build their businesses, but also to be something that's enjoyable to me as well, and something that I can build and grow within the long term. And that wasn't quite doing it for me. So, and I realized also there was a lot of common problems that people were having time and time again. Obviously, it's the same kind of challenges that they're coming up against, because a lot of them have very similar kind of backstories as to how they created their business. And a lot of them, like anyone who is self-employed will know, it's really lonely working by yourself. So I decided to start to bring them together just to meet and connect and feel less alone, but also to share those common challenges, those common things that were coming up, to realize that they could learn how to do things differently. They could benefit from my knowledge and experience, but also help each other along the way. Because what we really found was when someone's struggling with one thing, 2 or 3 other people say, oh yeah, I also went through that. This is what I did. This is how I overcame that challenge. So it was really began to then form more of a kind of life of its own, really. Yeah. Started off with, we just had a handful of people sat around a table having a coffee, having a chat. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just kind of facilitating the conversation. But over time, that's really grown, because I think people saw the value of not only meeting with other business owners, but other business owners who also have a product business, because product businesses are so different from service businesses. And a lot of the advice and support and information out there is really based for service businesses. So bringing together other retail business owners and to meet together with people who had businesses like theirs, I think has been really beneficial for them. And it really helped to bring the community together a lot more quickly, because they had so much in common. And we see that every time we meet. We now have monthly coffee mornings, and every time we meet, there's always so much, oh yeah, me too. I understand. There's lots and lots and lots of sharing of the same kind of experiences. So it's a really that's been really wonderful. From that, I've then built out a membership as well to give more structured support, because what I found was it's really nice to sit and chat and have a coffee and share your woes. Actually, sometimes people just need actual practical hands-on support, guidance, and to get that shortcut of experience that's from somebody else. So then I built out the membership as well. So then we have our community of people, and we also have our membership, which is much more structured support, just to help those independent retail businesses to grow. So it's kind of been a evolution over time, because when I started off, I certainly didn't think that I would be doing anything at all like this. And it has evolved over time based on, what my customers need from me, but also like what is working for me as well in my stage of life. So it's been a really enjoyable experience, because when things haven't quite felt like they were going in the right direction, the advantage of having your own business is you can pivot, you can change, you can make it how it needs to be a benefit to not only yourself, but also to the clients that you serve as well. So that's just been a really enjoyable part, and something that obviously when you work for a big company, you do not have that flexibility and that opportunity. So
absolutely.
Certainly not,
and
yeah.
it's quite interesting, because obviously what you're doing is actually offering a service.
Yeah, exactly. which was very interesting, because I know really well how to run a product business, but learning how to run a service business for me has been a massive learning curve, because it is, like I said, it's very different. So I'm still learning, and I'm still, working with coaches, and I'm still building my knowledge and experience on how to operate a service business, because that is very different from where my experience lies.
And so I met you when you just had the small retailer network had just turned 2.
Yes.
So now it's 3.
So
right. Congratulations on its
you.
3rd birthday.
Thank you.
And you told quite an interesting story, because you were saying you sat in a coffee shop by yourself on the first day.
Yes.
Can you share that? Because I think it's really important.
Yeah.
That you overcame that massive hurdle.
Absolutely, yeah. So when I very, very first started out, and I had this like germ of an idea to start some kind of networking group, I basically arranged to hold a coffee morning, and I invited lots of people, and quite a few people said, "Oh yeah, I'll come to that. Sounds good," and it was free, nobody came to it. Now, in hindsight, like obviously the power of hindsight and the power of experience told me that it was like literally the worst week I could have picked, because it was half term from school holidays. And you're like, oh my goodness, what a rookie error to make. What a rookie error to make. But also because these people didn't know who I was. Like I was just trying to create something from the beginning, which was always so hard. So I did go away and lick my wounds for a little while and think about, well, is this going to work? Is this the right path? How could I do things differently? So I just took a bit of time basically, to build some relationships and get to know people a little bit more and just be persistent, because I knew that it could bring value over time. I just had to communicate that to the people who I knew that would benefit from it. So it took a little bit of time. So it was October, the first failed attempt, shall we say, aborted attempt. But by February, when I tried again, and we had 6 people, I think, came the first month, and then it was about 6 or 7 the next month, and then gradually, and then by September we had 25 people, and I was very overwhelmed by the growth. But at the same time, it did show that there was definitely a need for it, and having that little bit of resilience and just taking a bit of time to reflect and just think about, okay, what could I do differently in order to make this work? Was definitely what was needed.
Check the school calendar, number one.
Well, now one of the things that we do every month as part of like the small retail membership, have a whole calendar for the whole year of like when the school holidays are, when all the important dates are, marketing dates, all these kind of things. But because obviously I had spent so long just
thinking about
like thinking about all the other things, I had failed to think about that. So, but I think, everybody makes mistakes when they're first starting out. And I can certainly laugh at it now. And it's a very good origin story of, when I started my business, nobody wanted it. Like, it's a good origin story. But at the same time, it's just, one of those things that I think everybody will have something that happens when they're first starting their business and it really doesn't go to plan. And you can either just give up, or you can reassess, reevaluate, and try again.
And reset.
And
you touched on something really close to my heart, and definitely Sarah's as well, is relationships.
Yeah.
Building that takes time.
Yeah.
And I always say that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Absolutely.
Because it takes time to get to know one another.
Absolutely.
And what's beautiful about your story is the fact that, yes, the first time no one but you were there. And I think showing up for yourself.
That would have been really bad if she wasn't there.
I see that it's, you showed up for yourself, even though you needed more people.
Yeah.
And through 3-4 months later, there was 6-7 people there already. And then all of a sudden 23.
Exactly.
It's so beautiful to share, because I think a lot of us have it in our minds to start.
Yeah.
But do we take the actual steps to get it done?
Absolutely. And one of the things that I kind of, to round that off in my mind as well, because obviously it was a big hurdle to overcome at the start, was when we had the second birthday party, we had it in the same venue where I had the place, the one that no one came. So I was like, okay, so and it was the same waiting staff as well, because that first day I had to say, oh, it's just going to be me. After all, I'll have some breakfast. But then by the time it was our second birthday party, we had like a cake, and there was so many people there.
We
had such a wonderful morning and so much connection, and everybody so enjoying the experience of being together, that it kind of was like a full circle really to do it in the same place.
And I love the coffee mornings, I have to say, because you always have these amazing gems of wisdom that you share with the group. How do you choose your topic? What are your sort of inspirations for that?
Well, what I start off to do is think about where are we in the year, because like retail is a very cyclical business. There are peaks and troughs throughout the course of the year, which are extremely predictable based on what's happening in terms of events, in terms of the time of year, holidays, these kind of things. So there's always, at certain points in the year, there's certain things you have to talk about because that is what's going to help brands to make money at that time of year. And these are the things that the large companies that I've spent all my working life working with, that's what's always planned out in their calendar, like the full year all in advance. There's certain things that you talk about. So for example, next month is May. We always talk about preparing for summer because the summer months are lean months. We know they're going to be lean months. So in May, we prepare. So the summer doesn't come as a surprise. But anywhere in the world, the summer months are quiet because it's the school holidays. So whether you've got kids or not, that does impact on trade because people travel and they're spending a lot of money on back to school as well. So it takes a dip. But here especially because people just leave during the summer and you need to be prepared for that. So in May, that's always a topic that comes up. And then like in the autumn, we're always looking ahead to like peak trade and the end of the year. But then throughout the course of the rest of the year, there's always lots to talk about. But generally speaking, I always select a topic which is related to like customers and connecting with customers, or that's related specifically to a certain factor that can really influence sales performance. So things that are often overlooked that can actually make a really huge difference over time to the performance of your brand. If you just make small changes or small switches or just put little things into place, it can have a huge impact over time. So the goal is always to have people leave with, okay, here's a couple of things that I can work on.
Actionable stuff.
Here's a couple of things that I could do, or I hadn't thought about that. I'm going to go and check that number that I haven't even thought about looking at and see how I can improve it. So I always want people to be able to leave with something actionable to do, but particularly with the coffee mornings, nothing that's going to be too overwhelming or too scary to do alone, because people are just going to be going off to do it by themselves.
I think it gives a good insight into your membership as well. If you're getting that amazing value from the coffee morning, then your membership is obviously, going to be, multiples of that in terms of
absolutely. And the thing is in the membership, there's just that bank of information that you can draw on when you need it. So over the course of the last 18 months since we started the membership, each month we've had a different masterclass or workshop, either delivered by myself or by a guest expert, so that we've got a range of topics. So when brands are thinking, well, I need some help with whatever, they can go and they can search, they can watch that, they can get the tools that they need to implement it. So someone today was asking me about how do I get my products stocked in stores? I want to have my products stocked on the shelves in stores. Well, we've got a masterclass for that, so you can take that when you need it.
Wherever you are
in that process, you can find the help that you need at that time. And then we also have a drop-in Q&A as well. So if they've got a specific question, they can come and ask that to me as well.
Oh, I love that. Because that's the thing. You might not think of something immediately, but whatever you're looking at in the bank that you have, it will spark certain ideas.
Exactly.
And if it's not there for you to see, you can ask the question.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's a safe space, obviously, for the community.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I'm most proud of about the community is it is a really warm and welcoming and friendly and supportive environment, because as I said before, like, it's really lonely working by yourself. You don't have colleagues and team around you. So you kind of need to create that and have people who are just like cheering you on and giving you that support. And that's what we've built with this community, is that supportive environment where you can be vulnerable or say, guys, I don't really know what I'm doing here, or I need some help with this, or I don't know how to do this certain thing, or I don't know how to react to this certain situation that's come up. But having the safe environment to do it and get the support either from me or from the other members as well, which is really great when everyone just supports each other and helps each other to grow.
Yeah, it's almost like you brought in, the big brand, big business kind of know-how and knowledge, but down into a manageable level for small retailers.
Yeah, exactly. And because the big brands, they all do the same thing. The reason they're all big is because they all do the same things. Like,
it works.
They know what works, and they do it every year, and they do it and they do it and they do it. So it's not complicated in that way when you know what it is that they do. Obviously, everything's easy when you know how. So
it's not what they said, who wants to be a millionaire. It's easy when you know it.
Exactly. It's easy when you know how. So it's a case of, well, here's the tools, here's how they do it. Here's how you can take that and bring it down to a level that works in your business, and tweak it and change it and adapt it to make it work for your business as well. Because obviously one of the challenges of big businesses is they are very inflexible. Whereas with a small business, you can bring that flexibility.
So you have that trade-off, don't you? You know, flexibility versus obviously lots of capital and, you know, resources, etc.
Exactly.
So how do you kind of maybe draw on those things to help grow your business?
Exactly.
You know, from that way. Yeah. Okay.
I want to know, what is one of the best success, because I'm sure you've got quite a few success stories, but especially from your membership.
Yeah.
What's the biggest one for you that really stands out?
Yeah. Oh, well, everybody has grown so much. And I think that's kind of what gives me the best feeling, really. Everybody has improved in their confidence enormously. And I've seen that throughout the community. But we've had some members who joined from the start, and right from the beginning, I just know that you're gonna succeed in your business. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like a groundbreaking idea or a groundbreaking product, but what it is that commitment to making it work and to implementing the things that work. So there's a couple of brands who they show up to every session. If they miss a live one, they watch the replay, they implement it, they're asking questions, and they're putting it into practice. And then when I see them, it's so rewarding.
Yes, those are the students that I like.
Yeah, it's so rewarding because then they start to see the benefits. So I get messages that say things like, well, I thought I was having a rubbish month, but I've just checked my numbers on the spreadsheet, and actually I'm like double what I was taking last year. And I wouldn't have even known it if I hadn't looked at your spreadsheet that you made me do. And I said, well, that's exactly it. Like, you can sit there, especially with a small business, if you're not turning over a lot of money, like, it can be quite easy to just like not look at the numbers and just kind of just do the fun part, especially for people who are creative.
I'll get to it.
Yeah, especially people who are creative and making their own product. Like, the part they enjoy is the creative product. They don't necessarily enjoy the selling of the product, but you have to sell it in order to be able to make more. Exactly. So having those tools to say, okay, well, this is how much money you have actually made. And like, you think in your head sometimes, you think, oh, it's not been a great month. But when you look at the actual data and the information and the tools, you think, actually, that's been better than I thought. Or sometimes like, oh no, it hasn't been a great month, but the data will always tell you why and what you can do differently next time. And that's what we always look at. So when people show up and say, oh yeah, actually, so last month this happened, but because of that, I plan to do it differently, and this is the outcome. It's just so satisfying.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it, and I think that your energy obviously is quite infectious, and your enthusiasm, and I think you just have that. Look, you need to just get on and do it, because if you want to make your business work, these are the things you need to do, but in a very kind of humane way as well, a very understanding way as well.
But the thing is, I also understand that a lot of the people who work with me, they are often they're mainly expats. They're often mothers as well. They've got a lot of other things going on in their life. Like, the reason that they want to be part of this is because they want the support and the encouragement. They don't need a boss breathing down their neck like they used to have in their old job. And like, they might have been a pharmacist, or they might have been a journalist, or like, we've got people who've come from all different walks of life who are now doing this creative, exciting new job. So they need that enthusiasm to go with it, especially since a lot of the time maybe their partner or their family might not see the potential in their business, because especially if they've come from a background where they don't know anybody else who runs their own business, or maybe who have always had very steady, dependable, reliable,
it's a very different
normal
story.
Jobs in inverted commas.
Very different.
Like, it can be really hard to envisage how you could have a successful business selling candles when there's like thousands of people selling candles, but it's totally possible. But it's that encouragement and support that's needed, rather than the carrot, not the stick.
Yeah, and that's what the platform actually gives, is building your confidence and to prove to yourself that this is going to work. And through that, you can build your household community by trusting the process.
Exactly.
That it's going through.
Yeah, turning your passion into profit.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
Sorry, I like that tagline. It just came into my head. Victoria will steal that.
Well, we do have so many people doing exactly that.
I think it's quite interesting in Dubai as well, which is that I can't remember the exact statistic, but it was much higher than I had thought. Something like 75% of businesses in Dubai are actually privately owned. And you kind of don't think that about Dubai because obviously all the big brands and the big companies, the global companies are here. But there's actually a huge entrepreneurial spirit in Dubai. Would you sort of agree, that kind of... people might come with a big job,
Definitely.
but I think there's almost like that infectious sort of feeling of like, actually, this is liberation.
For sure, definitely. And the thing is, well, for service businesses, it's very easy to start a business in Dubai. So it doesn't require very much. You've got to buy a license, that's it. You've got a business. Like it's very easy. So obviously with the product business, it's the same, but then you do have to get your stock and all those kind of things.
I've just been through all of this recently, so yeah, there's a few pain points.
There's a few additional pain points, but essentially the actual setting up of a business is actually very easy. So so that it does encourage people to think, well, what's the worst that could happen? Which is what I did. I thought, well, if I buy a business license and this doesn't work out, well, I've wasted a few thousand dirhams and at least I gave it a shot, as opposed to having to invest so much money, so much time, so much into something. You thought, well, it's a few thousand dirhams and I gave it a go. And I think it really encourages people to just try because there's not that huge issue if it doesn't work out. But then often people find once they do start, of course it works out because they've got the knowledge, experience, or they can find some help to get it to make it work. But I think a lot of the fact it's easy to start, and because when you look around, there are so many entrepreneurs, there are so many people doing just that and giving it a try and branching out on their own. And it's a very forward-thinking place, I think, Dubai. Everyone's looking for what's the next thing? How can we improve? How can we build? The whole culture is very forward-thinking, and I think that really encourages people to think in their own lives as well. Okay, could I do this by myself? Could I fulfill that long-held dream, that secret passion inside me to do something completely different? It's that kind of infectious quality of the city, I think.
It's very supportive, isn't it? It is. Yeah. I think, it's everyone is sort of like, it's that rising tide lifts all boats, sort of attitude.
Exactly.
And someone said to me before I came here, she said, Dubai is very fertile. You have an idea, you have a seed, you plant it, it will grow. If you're going to do it anywhere, this is the place
absolutely.
to do it. Oh, gosh,
absolutely.
I'm excited.
So excited. But it's true because it is easy to start a business, 100%, but it's sometimes a scary thing to do because we don't know about the platforms that's there to support us, like yours.
Yeah.
It is 100% there to support you, to make sure that it's a success and to not feel alone in your journey at all.
Absolutely. And I think the thing is that for me, and I think a lot of people, it's not the actual physical setting up of the business. It's the mindset. It's the head. It's getting over that. It's getting over that mental hurdle of is this really possible for me? Yes, this is possible for me. And that's obviously being in Dubai. You see a lot of other people doing it, being entrepreneurs. And once you start looking, you see more and more and more people living these lives they've created from their own creativity, from their own passion, from their experience. 100%. It's very inspiring to be able to go ahead and do it yourself.
It's like when you're looking at a car and you want to buy a Mini Cooper. What's the next thing you're going to see on the road?
Oh, you see
Mini Coopers everywhere.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. And when you're not looking for entrepreneurs, you never see them. You're just you're on the school run or whatever. But as soon as you look,
that's it.
They're everywhere. Yeah.
They actually come to you without you doing much.
Exactly.
So for me, my question is, what's next? Where is Victoria going with her vision?
So my goal is to continue to grow the small retailer network, to bring in more members, to build the community out, because obviously the more people we have in the community, the more support people can give to each other, and the more positivity and motivation comes from the group. So my goal is always to keep building that out and to make sure that as many people as possible have the opportunity to grow their business and to invest in themselves and their dream and make it happen as much as possible, in a way that, like I said, it works for them and it's flexible and it is empowering rather than scary. That's the goal, is to keep it growing.
Amazing. So on a final note, what would be your one key piece of advice then that you would give to someone who maybe is thinking of embarking on this journey?
I would say to somebody who's looking to start their own business, I would say, first of all, what I did when I was like looking was like, well, what to start off with, like what actually is it that I want to do and what am I good at and what do I enjoy and what do I not want to do? And that helped me to kind of bring together from all the many disparate ideas in my head of like what it could potentially look like. Then just do a little bit of research. It's very easy to get a license, so do some research about that, and then just give it a try, I think, because you will be surprised how quickly you can gain momentum by just putting yourself out there a bit. And it can be quite scary. Like, I totally understand that. To like go to networking events and to go and introduce yourself to people, to walk into a room of people that you don't know is terrifying for most people. Let's be honest. Most people, it's terrifying. But finding those groups of people that are like you, that understand, just make that process a lot easier. So if you are a product business, come along to our next coffee morning, come and meet us. Come and see that you don't have to do it by yourself, and there's always support around you to help you to achieve what it is that you want. So that's what I would say.
Fantastic.
I love it.
On that note, Victoria, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, highly recommend anyone who's selling small retailer going along to the small retailer network. I think it's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Have a great day.
You too.